me a breakdown of domestic tourism over this past season. Have you made good money in the sector?
Well, thank you for having me. I think from the domestic tourism point of view, we have seen, since November, December, and still now, before the schools, that are not up here in the inland are still yet to go back. We've seen some significant number of people traveling our country, really supporting tourism, going to various parts of the country, and really enjoying the hospitality that our sector has to offer. And I can only say thank you to South Africans that have supported us during these difficult times, when we don't even have international, markets coming in, and we have very little, of anything else but leisure tourism. We have seen the support from South Africa really being overwhelming, and really going, above and beyond in making sure that even those that are not that have not been able to travel outside of the country really went out and supported us, traveled to various products across the country, and we've seen that it did work. We did see some high level of occupancy in various cities around the country, including Cape Town, the likes of Durban, the Drakensberg. We've seen this in Mpumalanga, parts of Limpopo, and also, towards the Pilanesberg area. We've seen a great number of people, really traveling, supporting us in high numbers.
Are you able to compare it to pre-COVID levels and tell me what sort of percentage of those pre-COVID levels it reached?
Well, we're still very far if we compare to 2019 numbers, because the 2019 numbers were, I would say about 60% above what we've done. And when I talk about the numbers, I'm talking about the revenue that, we have sort of collected now. So we may have many people traveling, but the revenue levels are still very low due to, the specials that we're running, getting ourselves out of the pandemic, trying to recover. So revenue-wise, we are still very, very much low. And hopefully we'll reach the 40% levels, and maybe others may reach 50 and over in terms of the revenue. But in terms of occupancy, we've seen a large number of people traveling, although it may not equate to high numbers in terms of the revenue. So, that really shows us that there is appetite for travel. That shows that there is a segment of market that we need to cater for from the domestic point of view. And that really shows us that we need to develop products that will cater for that particular market, and being able to, activate more people from the domestic point of view to travel. But in terms of occupancy, the numbers were high. In terms of the revenue, the numbers were low.
I see. Talk to me about the trends, which I imagine is something you keep a close eye on. How has travel and the way people want to travel changed domestically? I mean, are people favouring big hotels over smaller B&Bs? Are there changes that you're noticing?
Well, we have seen that, majority of people, of course, they've been locked up in their own houses, especially those that are working, really using, technological platforms to attend the meetings, and they wanted to go out. And we have seen that there were people who were traveling on budget, and there were people who wanted to leave the country and they couldn't leave the country, and of course they had higher budgets to travel on. So it was a mixed bag. We have seen that small accommodation did very well, especially in the small towns where you don't find many big hotels. If you look at the Drakensberg area, a lot of people did very well. You look at Mpumalanga, smaller properties and medium-sized properties did very well. And also, if you look at those that are in the game reserves, the specialist products, they also received some guests that were planning to go out of the country. They ended up in those particular areas. So big hotels in coastal areas, they did very well in terms of the occupancy, number of people that are traveling. And I'm saying they did very well compared to 2020. Not necessarily compared to 2019, because in 2020, we had a lockdown, in December. People couldn't go to the beaches and so forth and so on. This time around, government did things differently. And I must say kudos to the decision makers in the government for listening to the needs of the industry and lifting the curfew, making sure that there's no ban on alcohol and ban on going to the beaches. We've seen those coastal areas, including the Garden Route, Cape Town, really doing very well, including the northern parts of KZN. So overall, it was a positive season, better than last year, but compared to 2019, it's still far behind, as I've said. But it helps us to build and to make sure that we sort of start to notice the trends in terms of our recovery from the domestic point of view. I must emphasize that the market that we're talking about here is domestic leisure travel. We still need government to travel. We still need to activate corporate travel. We still need to activate events, conferences, exhibitions, to make sure that the entire domestic travel, is complete. Otherwise, we're going to suffer going forward, and we're only going to see travel happening during, holidays and during long weekends.
You make an important point about business travel. Thank you so much. Great to chat to you as always, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa, CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa.